I'm going to keep this straightforward because the biggest question most of us face when we're eyeing a new Acoustic-Electric is whether it actually delivers the day-to-day flexibility we need, or if we're just paying a premium for a name and a handful of nice-looking specs. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The 814ce sits in a sweet spot where you could end up with a workhorse that feels at home on a bedroom practice session, a small coffee shop gig, or a full-band studio track. But you could also walk away with a guitar that sounds great on paper yet feels like a compromise when you plug it in or try a genre you don't normally play. That's why I've spent a little time digging into the design choices Taylor made here and thinking through the actual scenarios you'll run into. First, let's talk about the shape. The grand Auditorium body is Taylor's answer to one size fits most, and in practice it really does. The waist is slightly narrower than a traditional dreadnought, which means the guitar sits comfortably against a smaller frame without feeling cramped, and the bite you get in the upper mids is useful for fingerstyle pieces that need clarity. At the same time, the deeper lower bout still pushes enough bass to hold its own on a folk rock strum. In my own experience, I could switch from a mellow, finger-picked ballad to a more aggressive, flat-picking rhythm without having to retune or adjust my playing posture. That kind of versatility is exactly what gigging singer-songwriters keep talking about, and it's a concrete reason the shape matters beyond the looks cool factor. Now, the Scalloped V-class bracing is one of those technical terms that can sound like marketing jargon, but the effect is fairly easy to describe. By moving the braces away from the top center, Taylor gets a little more volume and a longer sustain without sacrificing the balance of the top's vibration. In a real-world test, I found the note decay on a simple open G chord lingering just enough to let you layer a second vocal line, something that can be a subtle but valuable asset when you're recording live. It also means the guitar responds well when you add a bit of light overdrive from an amp or a small PA. The tonal character doesn't get squashed, which is a common complaint with cheaper Acoustic-Electrics that have overly damped tops. One of the more practical upgrades on the 814ce is the action control neck. The idea is that you can adjust string height with a simple knob rather than having to take the guitar to a tech. For a player who travels a lot, that's a real convenience. I tried it on a 2-day road trip. After a night of staying in a cheap motel and a morning of low-temperature humidity, the neck felt a tad tighter. A quick turn of the knob and the action dropped back to a comfortable 2.3 mm at the 12th fret. It's not a permanent fix for major climate swings, but it does let you fine-tune the feel without a wrench, and that kind of on-the-fly adjustability saves you from the dreaded squeaky, high-action scenario that can ruin a set. The Claria electronics are the heart of the Acoustic-Electric experience, and they're worth a deeper look. Taylor paired the 814ce with a piezo-type pickup under the bridge and a small preamp with a built-in tuner. In a live setting, the signal came through cleanly on a 12-inch PA, with enough definition to let the nuanced fingerpicking survive the mix. The built-in tuner is a small but handy feature. I've used it backstage when I didn't have time to pull out a clip-in tuner, and it saved a couple of minutes that added up over a tour. The downside, if you're looking for a low-maintenance setup, is that the preamp runs on a single 9V battery that you'll need to swap out every few months if you gig regularly. It's not a deal-breaker, but it's a hidden cost that you should factor into your budgeting. The included hardshell case is another practical element that can swing the value equation. A well-built case protects the instrument from the inevitable bumps of touring, and the 814ce's case is sturdy enough to survive being tossed into a car trunk multiple times. That said, the case adds a few pounds, so if you're someone who prefers a lightweight travel bag for backpacking or bike commuting, the extra bulk might feel like an unnecessary compromise. It's a classic trade-off. Protection versus portability. Let's put all that together in the context of who should actually consider this guitar. If you're an intermediate player who has outgrown a basic entry-level acoustic and you start playing live shows or recording demos, the 814ce offers a blend of tonal flexibility and convenience that can justify its price tag. The grand Auditorium shape, V-class bracing, and solid electronics give you a professional-grade sound without needing a separate pickup system or a separate gig bag. For studio musicians, The consistent sustain and clear signal make it easier to track acoustic parts without resorting to